Some disappearances end with answers. Others end with theories. But the ones that truly haunt investigators are the ones that end with nothing. Just silence and a family torn between hope and despair. Cut to title: The Vanishing Cases That Still Haunt Investigators. Fade to darkness. Some disappearances end with answers. Others end with theories. But the ones that truly haunt investigators are the ones that end with nothing. Just silence and a family torn between hope and despair. Cut to title: The Vanishing Cases That Still Haunt Investigators. Fade to darkness. Camera glides along Highway 277. Empty, moonlit, wind brushing over dry grass. August 8, 2013. Coke County, Texas. 26-year-old Brandon Lawson, a father, a worker, a brother. A man trying to do right after a few wrong turns. Soft static, then the sound of a phone clicking on. That night, a simple argument with his girlfriend, Ladessa, turned tense. Words were said. Frustration spilled over. Brandon left home to cool off, promising to come back when things calmed down. Close-up of a pickup truck's taillights disappearing into the dark. He never made it back. Dark road. 911 audio fades in. Garbled, panicked words. I'm in the middle of a field. Pushed some guys over. Minutes later, Brandon's truck ran out of gas. He called his brother, Kyle, asking for help. Then, a second call to 911. His voice was trembling, confused, terrified. He spoke of men chasing him, of danger in the dark. And then, the line went dead. Silence. The faint hum of crickets returns. Flashlights sweep through the brush. Kyle's truck pulls up beside Brandon's abandoned one. When Kyle arrived, he found Brandon's pickup still warm. The keys were gone. His brother, nowhere in sight. Kyle called out his name again and again, but the night answered back with only wind. Cut to wide shot. Vast, open land, endless, empty. A deputy soon arrived, assuming Brandon had wandered off. They searched the shoulders of the road, but saw nothing. Low rumble of thunder in the distance. No footprints, no movement, just the emptiness of Texas whispering his name. Transition to a dimly lit farmhouse. A woman, Kyle's wife, paces by the window, phone in hand. Crickets chirp outside. Back home, the night stretched endlessly. Kyle's wife couldn't sleep. She watched the clock, waiting for her husband's call. Every minute that passed felt like an hour. Soft music, piano and faint wind. She stepped outside, barefoot, the night air cold against her skin. Out there, under the stars, she whispered a prayer. Lord, please bring them home. Camera pans, her shadow moving through faint porch light. Eyes wet with tears. The wind rustles her hair. When she called Kyle again, there was no answer. Just static. Just silence. Just fear. Her breathing quickens. She wraps her arms around herself, glancing toward the dark horizon. In that moment, she wasn't just worried for Brandon. She was terrified for her husband, lost somewhere out there, searching. The man she loved, and the brother he couldn't abandon. Two men swallowed by the same night. Lightning flickers in the distance. Fade to black. Montage. Sunrise over the plains. Helicopters circling. Volunteers combing dry land. Days turned to weeks. The family searched every mile of land between San Angelo and Bronte. Nothing. The 911 call replayed in their minds, over and over. That haunting, broken plea, please hurry. Slow pan over missing person posters, news clippings, and empty fields. Ladessa raised the children alone, clinging to hope. Kyle blamed himself, wishing he'd arrived just minutes sooner. And his wife, she still remembered that night. The cold porch, the fear, the prayer that went unanswered. Soft sobs fade into ambient wind. Text fades in, 9 years later, 2022. After nearly a decade, a group of volunteers received permission to search private land near the highway. What they found stopped them cold. Show aerial view of brush, investigators marking spots with flags. Faded jeans, a shirt, a pair of boots, all matching Brandon Lawson's clothes. Samba pause. Forensic testing later confirmed the truth. The long-missing father of 4 was gone. But how he died remains a mystery. Cut to Kyle standing near the field, head bowed, his wife beside him. She places her hand on his arm, her face hollow, eyes red, staring into the horizon. Slow zoom on the dark Texas highway at night. Police lights flicker faintly in the background. It's been years since that call. Yet even now, when the wind moves just right across Highway 277, locals swear they can still hear it. The whisper, the panic. We're not talking to them. Pause. Static builds in background. Who were they? What was Brandon running from? And why did that field refuse to give him back for 9 long years? A faint male voice breaks the faint sound distortion. Of a woman's sob echoes. Yes, Kyle's wife. I'm in the middle of as the field. Screen fades to black. Sound cuts abruptly. Because sometimes the audio loops faintly as the title fades in over darkness. Some phone calls are cries for help. Others are confessions. But this one is a doorway into a moment when fear and confusion collided. And the more you listen, the less you sleep. Title: The 911 Call Decoded. Split screen, waveform of the 911 call. Investigators in a dim room with headphones. The 911 call lasted just 43 seconds. But those 43 seconds have been studied for nearly a decade. The dispatcher heard a man, disoriented, whispering, scared. His words tangled between static and wind. I'm in the middle of a field. Push some guys over. We're not talking to them. Pause. Rewind sound effect. That last part, we're not talking to them. Who was we? Soft ticking sound in the background. Brandon was alone when his truck ran out of gas. No one was seen near him. No car tracks. No footprints. Beat. Yet on that call, he speaks as if someone was there beside him. Visuals, online forums, police reports, highlighted transcripts. Some say Brandon was hallucinating, under the influence, confused by exhaustion and fear. Others insist he stumbled onto something criminal, a drug deal, a hidden operation in the brushland. But one local theory refuses to fade, that Brandon wasn't just afraid of someone. He was afraid for someone. Cut to dark reenactment, blurred silhouettes in the field, faint flashlight glow. Maybe we wasn't about company. Maybe it was a plea, a broken warning, we're not talking to them. As if he was protecting someone he knew. Footage of sheriff's office, interview clips, maps with markers. Investigators replayed the call hundreds of times. Audio experts isolated frequencies, removing wind and static. Underneath the main voice, they heard something chilling. Audio playback, faint overlapping whisper, indecipherable words. The sound cuts abruptly. A second voice. It wasn't clear, not loud, but it was there. A whisper, a breath, something human. Was Brandon alone after all? Camera pushes closer to the waveform. The operator never mentioned hearing anyone else. But every detective who's listened to that audio since says the same thing. You can feel another presence in that call. Cut to a dimly lit living room. Framed photos, toys on the floor, a woman sitting alone by candlelight. It's Ledessa, Brandon's girlfriend. For 9 years, Ledessa raised their children without knowing what truly happened that night. Every year, she replayed the call, hoping to hear something new. A word she missed. A clue. Anything. Show her pressing play on a tape recorder, her hand trembles. But all she ever heard was the sound of his fear. And silence at the end. Transition. Candle flickers out. Darkness. And Kyle, Brandon's brother, blamed himself. He drove out that night to help, but found nothing but dust and headlights. His wife still remembers that night like a scar. Cut to her, walking through darkness, wind tugging her hair, flashlight trembling in her hand. She said the air felt heavy, like the land itself was holding its breath. Her voice, breaking. I called out for both of them. Brandon and Kyle, but only the wind answered back. Tear falls down her cheek. Fade to black. Text on screen, 2022. Investigators approach a fenced-off patch of private land. When Brandon's remains were found, hope finally met reality. His wallet, his clothes, his boots, everything he wore that night, right where the 911 call had placed him. Drone shot circles the area, small cross in the dirt. But no bullet, no knife, no clear cause of death. Only questions. And something else. Camera zooms in on the location marker, eerie silence. His phone was found just feet away. The screen still faintly cracked, as if it had been stepped on. By someone running, or by someone following. Soft heartbeat fades in. Night visuals. Kyle's wife again, sitting by the window, staring out into the dark Texas night. Kyle's wife still walks out some nights, same time Brandon vanished, and stands at the edge of the field. She says the wind there sounds different. It moves in whispers. Sometimes, she swears she hears his voice. Soft reverb, please hurry. But one night, she recorded something strange on her phone. A faint echo, barely audible beneath the wind. Audio playback, distant, garbled male voice. We're not talking to them. The voice stops. Then, another sound. A whisper, right against the microphone. You shouldn't be here. Silence. Her flashlight drops to the ground. The audio was reviewed by sound technicians. No tampering. No overlap. Just the same static, the same voice, the same darkness. Long pause. Slow fade to black. Because some voices never stop calling. They say a place never forgets what it's seen. Some lands hold stories, whispered through the wind. And in Coke County, Texas, there's a field that never went quiet. A pickup truck stops by the roadside. Kyle's wife steps out, a flashlight trembling in her hand. It's been months since the discovery, since Brandon's remains were finally brought home. But peace never came. Not for Kyle. Not for her. Camera pans over the field, silver grass moving under a cold breeze. Every night she dreamed of that call. The static, the words, the fear. And sometimes, in her dreams, she heard another sound, a breath close to her ear, saying, we're not talking to them. The flashlight flickers. She exhales shakily. Tonight, she came back, not as a searcher, but as a mother, a wife, a woman who can't let go of what she doesn't understand. Cut to her sitting in the truck, playing the last audio she captured, the one from part 2. Static, then a faint whisper, you shouldn't be here. No one could explain the voice. Audio experts said it wasn't feedback, not wind, not interference, but something, or someone, standing just close enough to be heard, yet never seen. Her hands tremble as she rewinds. Tears roll down her face. You shouldn't be here. The same words she once said to Kyle, before he drove out that night, before they both lost everything. She covers her mouth, sobbing quietly. Music swells with a deep cello. Grief has a voice, and tonight, it finally found hers. Inside a small kitchen, morning light filters through the blinds. Kyle sits at the table, writing a letter. Kyle had stopped talking about it. People said he should move on. But how do you move on when your brother's last words still echo in your head? Close-up of the letter. To my brother, I'm sorry I didn't get there sooner. I'm sorry I left you alone in that field. If there's any part of you still out there, please, find your way home. Kyle folds the letter, drives to the field, and buries it beneath a wooden cross. That night, the wind was still. For the first time in years, quiet. Camera glides over the ground, then stops, faint impressions in the dirt, leading toward the brush. The next morning, search volunteers noticed something strange. Fresh footprints. Not Kyle's. Not the officers. Barefoot. Deep. Leading nowhere. They fade halfway into the grass. As if someone had walked out from the field and vanished into air. Soft wind carries a faint echo, distorted, layered voices. When investigators checked the area, Kyle's letter was gone. The earth was disturbed, as if something had reached up and taken it. Beat. Silence. Nightfall. Kyle's wife sits alone again. She presses play on her phone. New recording. Static, then faint breathing. A whisper, he found his way home. Her eyes widen. She drops the phone. The screen cracks. Some call it coincidence. Others call it madness. But she swears it was his voice. Brandon's, softer, calmer, like a storm finally passing. She looks toward the horizon, tears in her eyes. And for a moment, the air didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt kind, peaceful, like goodbye. Wind carries through the open window. We faintly hear children laughing in the distance. A detective revisits the audio files from the case, headphones on, eyes narrowing. Months later, as the case officially closed, one detective decided to re-examine the original 911 call. He slowed it down to half speed, and beneath Brandon's trembling voice, he heard something that made him stop breathing. Slow-motion replay of the 911 audio, stretched, distorted. "We're not talking to them." Then a faint second voice, female, barely audible. "Come back." Cut to black. The hum of wind grows louder, almost a scream. Brandon wasn't talking to strangers. He wasn't talking to the police. He was talking to someone he loved, someone waiting at home. And maybe, just maybe, the field remembered. Fade out completely. One last whisper through static, "You found me." Because some endings aren't meant to be solved, only felt. End screen fades in. Part 4. The Echo Never Dies, coming soon.